the Sports Close-Up from Lakeside Lanes. We have the Grandas, Don and DJ. Don Granda Jr. and DJ. Guys, thanks for coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for hosting us.
And obviously this show is about bowling in Crawford County, and the young man to my right, and I'm going to call you a young man, 101 300 games. Are you kidding me? That's unbelievable, Don.
That's correct, and nowhere close to the record. So, yeah,
well, it's a record in Crawford County. I got to believe that. What is the record? You say nowhere close.
I believe there's a guy out of Ohio, Adam Barta, that's at least near 200.
He's near 200. You have 101, so you're not that far away. That's pretty good, 101. You started bowling at an early age, because we talked about this once before. When did you realize you were going to be pretty good at it?
I spent a lot of my teenage years during the summer in practicing at Plaza Lanes every day that they were open, 20 games a day. And after doing that for about 3 or 4 years, it just became natural. Put all the work in, and it's paid off.
And then your son here bowls a 299 game, and then you turn around and bowl a perfect game yourself. That had to be a thrill. Just recently, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us about it.
Well, first 299 game I was kind of surprised by that. Both balls had already been on the wrong side of the lane. Just panicked because I know I have to bowl good like him. So the second 300, and the first 300, sorry, was, pretty good.
So how many 300 games do you have?
I only have one in the league.
And one in the league.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, because you're the young guy here, when you're bowling and you 6 strikes, 7 strikes, 8 strikes, do you get a little nervous as you're going towards the 300?
The 299, yes. The 300, no, because I will admit I was kind of joking around with my friends and doing other stuff at the time. So apparently distracting myself is the way to do things.
Let me ask you both. First up with the young man, when you're out there bowling, what are you looking at? You got your ball, you're in your position, what are you looking at?
Most likely, I'm looking at everything. You have to be able to look at the lanes, you have to know where the dots are, the pins. Everything has to be in your eye perception.
So during a strike ball, so basically once I'm set, I have 2 marks on the lanes. I use the arrows that are about 15 feet, but I also draw a line to a break point down the lane. That's where I want the ball to actually start hooking into the pocket. And then I draw a line between those 2 points and try to roll over that consistently.
17?
17.
Okay, 17 years ago, obviously you're born. You're in the crib. Did you turn around and see a bowling ball in there? Or when did you find out that bowling is part of the family tradition?
Well, he owned the pro shop at Plaza Lanes at the time, and our garden was decorated by bowling balls, so it was pretty easy to tell.
Is that right?
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that?
We had some of my old bowling balls we used to, just as more like fencing, I guess you would say.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
Around the flower pots or the flower beds.
You guys should have took pictures of that.
We have them somewhere, I'm sure.
They didn't have Facebook maybe back then. You could have put them on and show people a new tradition in flower bedding. All right, so, so you went to Plaza Lanes when you were young.
Yes.
Did you fall in love with the game right away? Were you kind of pushed a little bit by Dad, or what happened?
Oh, I can guarantee I was pushed. But, yeah, I've always enjoyed bowling, so.
Why?
Something to do. I maybe haven't got as serious as I would like to, but it's something I can have fun with my friends and maybe even get into the competitive aspect of it.
What's it like for you, Dad, when you see your son bowling?
Oh, it's great. It's much more difficult because you can't control it. And being able to, bowl myself, I understand, I know what adjustments should be made, things like that. And so you can help teenagers. They don't always listen, but at least, I'm there to help. But yeah, it's more difficult because, you can't throw it yourself. You have to watch him either, succeed or make the mistakes. And hopefully, when you're on the latter end, mistake-wise, that you can at least learn from that going forward.
think I know the answer to this question because I coached my own daughter in softball back in the day, but do you ever find out that not your son, but other kids probably tune into you more than your own son does? As far as like, tricks of the trade?
Yeah, there's, it's probably 100% accurate because, they have to deal with me on a day-to-day basis, and, we're together all the time, so, the other kids may, see that, he's really great, so I'm going to listen to him. He gets to deal with me all the time and see it all the time, so the other kids definitely will listen a little more.
Is it pretty cool for you, though, to have a dad that's really talented in bowling?
Yeah, but a lot of it is I have to deal with having a dad who's a lot better than me at bowling, so
So do you feel pressure that you have to be good?
tons of pressure.
Really?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with it?
Knowing that I only have 100 more to go right now.
Is that pressure obviously put on by himself, or? I mean, you're not sitting there saying you have to get 100 more games and 300.
No, he does have the talent, so he can be as good as he wants to be. I struggle now just to try to stay ahead of him, but there's no pressure on our end. But he definitely is good enough to succeed, I guess, as far as the effort he wants to put into it.
Would it be fair to say, and I think this is the good thing, and I think in our society today, people shy away from this. I'm a big proponent of this. I did it with my own two daughters, and they're very successful in life today. But you said something very interesting there. You said he has talent, and as a parent, you don't want to see him waste that talent. So sometimes you need parents give a little push, and kids feel like, oh, get off my back a little bit, please, all right? Just because, and I think you understand that. You're a wise man. That it's because of the love and dedication your dad has towards you. He wants you to excel because he's so proud of you. And as you get older, you're gonna realize that when you reflect back and say, man, I'm glad he pushed me a little bit. Because some parents in today's world, they don't really care if their son or daughter is successful or not. Right. In a way. How long do you want to bowl for?
Until I die, most likely, honestly.
So you really do like it a lot.
Yes.
And you like meeting people and talking to people. Have you got a lot of friends that bowl?
I have a few, yeah. Some of my friends I push towards bowling.
You're trying to get younger people involved, and you want that to happen, right? Because I think you and I talked once before, we need young people to step up and start bowling again.
Yes, and we have youth leagues that we run Saturdays and Sundays, basically from September through the end of March. There's a high school bowling program. With that, we see new kids that have never even taken up bowling that come into it. It's like, oh, this is great. I can bowl for the high school. And you see that, and there's great high school programs throughout the region.
Does Cash have a program too?
Cash just started this year, was their first year.
Okay.
And I think there was about 12 to 15 kids that bowled in that program.
I know Sagertown has a very good program.
Yes.
You and I discussed very talented bowlers in that program. You and I talked off camera a little bit. You want to bowl in college? You said maybe.
Yes, I'm going for it. The only problem is finding a college that has a major bowling team.
Mm-hmm. Is there a lot of schools that have bowling in college?
There are. Your big Division I schools,
Right.
It seems that it's not a priority. A lot of the smaller schools, the bowling teams are actually a bigger priority in their sports. So, some of the smaller schools, I think that's where probably the opportunity is. But you gotta work hard and get out in front of the coaches, of course, like anything else, to get on the teams.
What kind of injuries can you suffer from bowling?
There's tons
I would
of 'em.
imagine people think you just come down, you put the bowling shoes on, and you just throw the ball, and and you have a couple drinks, and whatever, and that's it.
You can probably injure just about anything. Really, you can pull hamstrings, hurt your back, hurt your arm, shoulder, just about anything. And I think I've been through most of them.
And you can hurt your arm or shoulder from overthrowing?
If you're not loosened up and you do something stupid, of course, Yep.
And you and I talked about that before. You mentioned to me as you get older, you have to loosen up more.
Yes. When I was younger, yep, you'd go right out, start ripping the ball, throwing it down the lane. Now anymore, you got to make sure that you're loose before you really get after it.
Have you had any injuries because of bowling? I know you play tennis and you play soccer, right?
I hurt my arm recently, and it was quite possibly from bowling, and I was out from tennis and soccer at times for a while. So yeah, bowling is quite possible with injuries, and I'm pretty sure I got it from bowling. So
You know, I'm very glad you play more than one sport. I think, I think we become so specialized in our society today. Most people that are successful as pro athletes have actually played more than one sport. And we get this thing where people say, no, you gotta do basketball 12 months, or you gotta do golf 12 months, or you gotta do bowling 12 months, or whatever the sport is. It's good to have a couple.
Yeah, I think that you need to cross-train your muscles in regards to
Yeah.
that. 'Cause
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, you're really looking at, you can get into muscle fatigue and stuff like that. And plus, when you're doing something the same sport, your muscles aren't seeing other activities. So yeah, I think the cross-training in different sports will definitely help you.
And he couldn't make it tonight, but let's give some kudos to Jim Hunter, who really promotes bowling in Crawford County and does so working for the Meadville Tribune. I'm sure every bowler around this area has got it. Thanks Jim tremendously all the time, because he really pushes it.
Yeah, he does a tremendous job for our sport. Yeah, you don't see that in any other city, town. I mean, it's a regular thing every Thursday morning. You can open up the paper, but from roughly between Labor Day and the end of March, and you're going to see a bowling article. He does a fantastic job. Does a great job covering all the angles of bowling. From the school bowling, your best bowlers and other things, but he does a great job.
Yeah, he really does. People want to come down here to bowl Lakeside Lanes. You guys are open every day, or
we're actually in our summer hours,
Okay.
so we're actually limited. It's only Thursday afternoons and Saturdays in the evening, but generally from, like I said, Labor Day through the end of April, we're open just about every day.
I remember my daughters were young and living in Meadville. We would go over to Plaza Lanes and put those things in the gutter.
The bumpers, yeah.
Yeah, and I was real good then because they bump right off. Otherwise, I'm really bad. But they would go to parties. Kids would have parties at the bowling alley. Do you have those here in the winter
Yes,
sometimes?
yeah, we have parties actually every Saturday during the summer, roughly around 6 o'clock, and then we have them during our regular season Saturdays after 2 o'clock and Sundays between 3 and 5. So yeah.
All right, let's go to the bowling ball. I'm a golfer, so I know the clubs are very important to me, and I'll put some money in clubs that feel comfortable to me. Get fitted and all through that. And I believe you have to feel comfortable with your equipment. How important is a bowling ball you feel good about, and how many bowling balls do you have right now?
technically, I have one
Okay.
right now. I use balls that he has based on there's the hole off screen that you can't really see, but that can be screwed off.
Here, we'll do this. So
Yeah.
basically what he's talking about, it's a switch grip.
Oh, wow.
So that way I have my own.
Is that something new?
This has been around probably for about 15 years.
Okay, that's the last time I probably bowled.
Yeah. And so that way you can have your own, and our spans are similar, that he has his own thumb slug.
So thus you don't have to go buy a new ball.
Yeah, so he can use every ball that I have.
Right now I'm using.
What about the weight of the ball, though?
We both use 16. Usually, though, the average weight is 15 for most people, for actual bowlers.
And what does the weight mean? I mean, obviously 16 is heavier, but does it make the pin go down quicker? I mean, why do you use the 16?
Well, I can't say for him, but honestly, I started using 16 because he was using it, and I wanted to be like that. And now if I use a 15, it's just way too late for me to use.
And thus you throw it away too early, or
Yeah, it honestly just feels
falls
weird
out of
to
your
use now.
hand.
It's a lot heavier, though, and can hit the pins easily.
Okay.
Yeah, so basically, the heavier the ball, the less pin deflection you get. So it's best to use a ball, the heaviest weight of a ball that you can control.
Okay.
If you can control it, throw it accurately with a decent speed, you want to use the heaviest ball.
price of a ball?
So you start out, a plastic ball is going to run you roughly about $60, up to, you can go over $200 for top of the line.
Okay, so if people want to come here and just bowl to have fun, you have balls that they can
Yep.
use.
Yep.
Somebody starts really want to get into a league and become good, they go out and buy their own ball. Where do they buy a golf ball? I mean, I walk into Dunham's, I don't know if they have golf balls in Dunham's. They have golf balls in Dunham's. I don't know if they have bowling balls.
Right.
I've
And
seen a couple there,
Have you?
actually.
Yeah, they may, but you're best to go to a bowling alley so you
Okay.
can get properly fitted.
So do you fit them here?
Yes, we have our own pro shop, and so all the bowling alleys in the local area, they all have pro shops. So you're best to get that from a certified.
Just like you get fitted for a golf club, you get fitted for a
Yes.
bowling ball.
Right.
So
and-
by how heavy you need it in your fingers and so forth.
right.
Do you have them toss a few to see what they're?
Yeah. So basically, you're going to look at the individual, watch them, see how they roll the ball. You're going to recommend a ball that would suit them best, and in the price range that they're looking for. Because you can get balls that hook a lot, you can get balls that don't hook a lot, and in between. So yes, you're
And
going to watch them.
some people might have. I heard that some people have 8 or 9 golf. I mean,
Bowling balls? Yep.
why?
Yeah.
How many? do
Some
you have?
people, I don't know.
Oh, you have a lot too.
Let's not go into that.
Yeah, I have at least 30 plus.
Wow.
Those are the ones he has right now that aren't stuffed into lockers. Just
30 plus.
Yes.
active. Let's just go past that.
Yeah.
Why so many?
So the bowling balls, there's different surfaces. You have different weight blocks. You have different cover stocks. You can, so those all will allow the ball hook differently. So and then also, you can drill them differently to determine how they're going to hook. Are they going to roll earlier? Are they going to roll later? Are they going to, hook hard in the mid lane? Are they going to snap at the end?
If you go
all
to,
kinds of stuff.
you still bowl competitively?
I have not bowled a lot since we bought the bowling alley
It's
about
kinda
11
busy.
years ago. Yeah.
Before that, you bowled competitively.
Yes.
Did you take a couple bowling balls with you to a match then, or just took one?
If I was bowling competitively, I would not leave without at least 10.
Yeah, but most serious bowlers, like even for junior leagues, junior tournaments, I've been bringing usually 5,
Wow.
3 to 5.
Because
yeah.
as you start, you might not, because of the surface, you might say, I got to try something different, and until I feel like I'm bowling well and get the ball to.
When you only have one ball and it's not working on the surface, there's not really much you can do.
Let me ask you this then: how much mental is bowling? Is there any mental aspect of the game?
I'd say there might be a small physical aspect to it, but most of the game is definitely mental.
Just like a lot of sports are.
Yes.
People don't realize most sports are mental. I mean, physically you got to be prepared, but mentally, so bowling too.
Yeah, if you break focus for a second, you're just going to hit slightly off. It can go from a strike to a 7-10 split easily.
All right, since you got 101, 300 games, how do you stay focused during that whole time? I mean, people are probably trying to talk to you and this and how do you stay focused?
Well, you kind of get used to
You get in the
it.
zone?
You do. When you're bowling really well and you're really focused, I mean, you literally all you can see is your mark. I mean, you're just that tuned in. But and that's when you're bowling really well. Just like any other sport, when you're at that level, you can get into that zone and everything just flows. But yeah, when you're bowling league tournaments, you kind of get into the rhythm of talking to people and know what you're comfortable with and how you like to, I guess, handle yourself. So as you continue to throw strikes, you're just focusing out there. You got to shut it off, everything back, that's happening back there, and just focus on what you need to get done on the lanes.
You guys feel like bowling is taking a back seat to other sports? I remember when I was growing up and then in the early 70s too, the ABC used to have bowling every week. Chris Schenkel would host it. In fact, nationwide bowling. Once in a while, there might be a tournament on today, but I don't see ESPN talking about it much on their sports center. Do you think it's taking a back seat? I know Jim Hunter does a great job here locally, but why aren't more people talking about bowling?
I wish I could answer that. I do know that Like you can see it on ESPN and CBS Sports.
Okay.
Has been show. I think CBS Sports has the contract right now. They've been
Okay.
showing it. There's actually been.
So I see golf promoted a lot
Right.
on TV, but I don't see.
Yep. And it's just not sure what happened, but that's where all the big industry has put
Okay.
their money towards, and unfortunately, you have you just have the bowling companies, and there is some sponsorship, but it just seems like that's where it's went.
You in the Hall of Fame?
I am not in
You
the
should
Hall of
be.
Fame. I
can't believe that.
just
That's crazy.
You have to be 45 years old to
Okay.
be in the Crawford County Hall of Fame, and I, within the last year, just reached
Wow.
that age.
I got a feeling that they're going to be calling here pretty soon. You said Crawford County Hall of Fame. Is there a state bowling Hall of Fame?
There is a State Bowling Hall of Fame, yes. I know we have, I believe, a couple members of our association are in
And
it.
if I'm not mistaken, there's no place for it, or is there a location?
I am not aware of a location.
Okay, and I think that needs to be rectified also. I mean, yeah, I think bowling should be promoted a lot more, and I'm glad you and I, both of us, all three of us, had this time to talk about it for young people, for older people. I remember growing up, my dad, my uncles, every Thursday night they're in league. Every Thursday night, and they had the shirts,
Yep.
and the place was like Long Island, New York, was like 35 lanes, and they were all packed, packed with 2 teams on each lane, and I thought it was awesome, and of course back then it was like a cloud because people could smoke back then, but
Yeah.
but it was something else, and it's almost looked like it's taken a back seat, and I'm glad you're getting the word out with young people, because you would agree to this, Don. Even sort of like golf, it's a lifetime sport. You
Yes.
can bowl with your family.
Yep. You take it up and you start bowling. It's something you can do and to your 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
So you can do it. It's a skill that you learn that you'll have forever.
There's even a bowling alley in the White House.
You got it.
I mean, that's pretty cool. I don't know if the president bowls much, but he's a little busy right now. But I know there's a couple lanes in the White House, and I think he did have a couple senators over one night about a month ago, and they bowled a little bit. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, bowling. People out there, if you haven't, and you don't have to be any age to learn how to bowl too, right?
Nope.
I mean,
Nope.
Anybody can pick it up.
yeah. And
We have bumpers. We have rollers. People
do you
just-
give lessons? Have you ever said, can you help me out here with my?
We do give lessons. The other owner of our bowling alley,
Mm-hmm.
Bruce, has a little more time than I do.
Right.
He has the ability to work with people a little more often than I would. But yes, all you got to do is call the bowling alley, and yep, we can set you up.
That's pretty cool. So, take advantage of that. All right, we're going to stop our discussion here. Don Jr. is going to walk over to the lane and show us his technique of why he's such a superb bowler. And we'll be right back. One of the most successful bowlers in Crawford County history, Don Granda Jr., will show us his technique that allowed him to have 101 300 games so far. All right, Don. Obviously, you knocked them all down. What are you looking at when you're approaching the lane here?
I would say, so as I was talking earlier, again, I'm looking at a mark at about 15 feet. Around the arrows, actually looking between the second and third arrow. And I'm looking to throw the ball out at about 40 feet at about the 7th, 8th board, and then have it hook into the pocket.
When you just released that ball, did you have a good indication you were going to get a strike?
I hit my mark, so yeah, there's either a chance of that or leaving a 7-pin.
All right. Well, Don, thanks a lot for allowing us to come down here, and we'll be back with more. here now with Ann and Nick Archacki. And guys, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
We just talked off camera. Both of them were here to talk about bowling, but this young man, Nick, got a hole-in-one. How old are you?
I'm 15 now.
15. You were 9?
Yes, I was.
Man, congratulations. I have one, and I'm way past that age, so congratulations on that. But
Thank
let's
you.
talk about bowling. When did you start bowling?
Well, my parents and my grandparents, kind of started getting me into bowling when I was 1.5.
One and a half.
Yes.
Just about walking.
My grandparents owned
You
a bowl.
walk down and...
I don't even know how I did it.
How'd you do it, Mom?
We'd set him down at the line, give him the bowling ball, and he would shove it down the lane.
Wow.
So,
That's
yeah,
pretty awesome right there. I never thought...
it was
My
fun.
grandparents used to own Lost Lanes.
Right,
So
right.
I just started bowling.
So you would
at
go
that
there.
time.
So you would go there, and then you started 3, 4, 5 throwing the ball down a little bit, and you just fell in love with the sport, or what happened?
It's just been part of my life forever, and it's just my life. I love it so much.
Why?
The competitiveness of it, just the love for the sport, so many things you can do with it, so many friends you can make, so many places you can travel. It's just
Play it forever.
Right, and the atmosphere of bowling alleys is just amazing. That's why I love bowling so much.
What about the atmosphere of the bowling alleys? You talk about travel. Obviously, you travel with your mom to different events. Tell me about the atmosphere in the bowling alley. That gets you excited. First of all, it's loud, right? I mean, not overly loud, but the pins are flying and so
Right.
forth. People are communicating. But what else do you like? The technology, keeping scores amazing
Yeah.
now.
It's just basically just being in a bowling alley. A lot of bowling alleys are really nice. There's some that are, a little bit could use some work, but just being in a bowling alley, it's no different than a golf course. Every time
Right.
you walk on a golf course,
Right.
You're happy to be there.
Yeah.
And bowling's just a friendly environment, and you can have fun.
And let's turn to you. Now, you are in the Golf Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken.
Bowling Hall of Fame? Yes.
Bowling Hall of Fame.
Yes. I'd like to be in the Golf Hall of Fame, but I'm not that good.
But you are in the Bowling Hall of Fame, which
Yes.
is, we talked about that once before, and that's fantastic. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. If I'm not mistaken, you started bowling at an early age also,
I was about 5.
and you fell in love with the sport for the same reasons as Nick here.
Not really.
Okay. Why'd you?
I really honestly don't remember how I got started, but my mom and dad both have bowled forever, and I guess
Did you ever feel like though when you were growing up, because your mom and dad bowled a lot and the bowling lane themselves, I don't want to do this.
nope.
Wow, that's good.
No.
So you just said.
I know that they used to go bowling a lot, and I just thought, oh, that's pretty cool. They get to go out and have fun.
And just like my grandfather, her dad, he's a really excellent bowler. He's in the Hall of Fame also. And when you're like a kid like that, you want to have a goal and an aspiration to reach that goal and be in the Hall of Fame, or get a high game, or just make that goal that you want. And once you work for that and keep working and working, just like I did growing up, I just bowled all the time in it. And the more you practice, the better you get, and the goals come easier. And then once you reach that goal, you can always reach another one.
What high school did you go to?
Sagertown.
Okay, you're on the bowling team. You guys are a heck of a bowling
Yes.
team in Sagertown, I tell you. Wow, what grade are you?
9th.
You're only in 9th grade. Were you part of when we did this high
Yes.
school team?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. Yeah, now my memory's coming back. Why is your high school team so good?
We have good bowlers.
Why do you have good bowlers? I mean, if you go, first of all, you can't get through the town anymore. I mean, the bridge is out.
Oh, I know.
Putting 2 roundabouts in is, we'll talk about that in a different kind of show. But anyway, what makes Sagertown, with one light, such a good bowling for young people?
I don't know, it's just good bowlers that have come to Sagertown and have grown up in Sagertown through the school and bowl at Plaza Lanes, Lost Lanes out here at Kite Lake.
Really, what is there to do for the kids? I mean, it's a great sport to get into.
No doubt.
So
I know a lot of kids
keeps
at
them out
that.
of trouble.
A lot of kids in that area hunt and fish too.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
so keeps them out of trouble. No doubt about
Yeah.
that.
I just honestly think we got lucky with having a school full of really excellent bowlers over the past,
And you find
6
that out
years.
in small schools. Sometimes they'll have a great basketball team for a while because all of a sudden good athletes came at the same time.
Right.
Good bowlers came at the same time. But you got to keep the tradition going because you're only going to be a sophomore next year.
Yeah.
Do you want to bowl in college? Do you want to go to college?
Definitely, yes. That's one of my goals. And then once I graduate college, my top goal is to get to the professional tour.
Wow. What is that called? PBA?
Yeah, the PBA.
How do you get? Now I know in golf you have to be on the Nike tour first, and then you try to get a certain score to get on the PGA, and then you have to maintain that as you go back down. How do you get on a professional bowl list?
Well, you basically just have to pay an exemption card.
Okay.
If you have an average of 200 over, and you can maintain that, you can get a PBA tour card. And then if you want to, you can pay extra money to become an actual professional. But
You have to pay.
right,
You try to get sponsors then.
yeah, sponsors help out a lot with bowlers.
Oh, yeah, you would have to get sponsors, I'm sure. And have you been to? I know every year, I think Armstrong even films it too. They have the junior bowlers give out awards, and they have a guest speaker every year.
Oh, the Hall of Fame banquet?
Yes,
Yes.
and the man that just retired from running it with the young people, his name
Doug
escaped
Grumling.
Doug Grumling, who I know a little bit, did a tremendous job, and
Yeah.
he really liked bowling too. And you've been to those ceremonies.
Yes.
You know, I've watched those on TV, and the feeling I get sometimes from the guest speakers is they feel slighted a little bit that it's not promoted
They
more.
do. They kind of feel like they're a professional like
Right.
anybody else, whether it be football,
Mhm.
baseball, whatever.
Sure.
If they go more like to Europe, they really are treated like professionals. And for some
Wow.
reason here in America,
Yeah.
they aren't considered,
An athlete.
yeah, really, they're not.
Right.
And I don't know why that is, because
I don't
it's
either.
a hard job to try to be a professional bowler.
It's also a hard thing to do is become a good bowler on
Yeah,
a consistent
yeah.
basis,
Absolutely.
correct?
Yeah.
And I think, again, people have this misconcept that bowling is like a joke,
Yeah.
or it's real funny,
Yeah.
or it's easy.
Mhm.
I'm just going to go there and have a few drinks and throw the ball down. And
They can come and compete with us anytime.
yeah, yeah. So, I got that feeling, and they've had great speakers there and great professionals come to that banquet,
Absolutely.
which is outstanding. You think about Meadville having that. But again, I think it's a lot of things. Number one, Pennsylvania Hall of Fame, there's not a location.
I honestly don't know where
And
it's located.
It's somewhere, I would imagine somewhere close down to Harrisburg,
I would
because
think
that's
so.
where all the state.
But you're in the Hall of
tournaments are
Fame.
in the Crawford County Hall
You're in
of
the
Fame.
Crawford County Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Is there a place? That's just at the bowling alley with the name plaques up there, right?
We actually have our boards hanging in Plaza only because it's the biggest center
Right.
with
But
enough
there's no
room.
building they have themselves.
No.
at. No.
That'd be nice if that ever happened, wouldn't it? I mean, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it would be.
And have plaques and pictures and a little bit about each bowler
Yeah.
and maybe about some of the old bowling alleys and the history of bowling in Crawford County and so forth.
That would be
I think
interesting.
history's important.
It
I
is.
really do, and especially in sports, because I think sports and society combine a lot. Where's bowling going to be 20 or 30 years from now? Is it still going to be going, or is it hurting right now?
Around this area, it's really hurting. If you head out west,
Oh, yeah.
west is huge.
When you say
in
west,
bowling.
we're talking
Las Vegas.
Indianapolis,
Las Vegas.
yeah, out toward Las Vegas.
Really?
Las
so-
Vegas is basically the bowling capital of the United States.
Las Vegas. Where they have slot machines in the bowling alleys too?
Actually, they do.
But I wouldn't think Las Vegas. That's interesting.
I've actually been out to Vegas twice to bowl in tournaments.
Wow,
and
that must have been pretty awesome.
It was. South Point has 2 bowling centers. Sunset Station is 1, and then you could probably name all the station chain hotels, and there's probably a bowling alley in there. There's just bowling. There's probably about 12 bowling alleys in the area of Las Vegas. It's incredible.
And
Even eastern Pennsylvania has quite a bit of
Eastern
bowling
has
still
a lot of
going
bowling,
on.
too.
I don't know why around here we don't.
Well, there's a lot of things.
Probably
Could
the
be
weather.
the economy.
The
I was
weather.
going to say there's a lot of things hurting around here
Yeah,
at the
there are.
present time, and
Yeah.
I know. I think in golf too with young people. I've heard of some golf courses even closing because
Mm-hmm.
they're not getting any young people involved.
This is not an expensive sport.
Not at
I mean,
all.
you can spend as much as you want on equipment or whatever, but to come and bowl a game, it's usually under $4.
I also think it's a great family thing.
It is.
Your husband, wife, and your kids can come and spend an afternoon or an evening and have fun, or bring their neighbors with them or whatever.
Yeah, whoever. Anybody can do it.
Interesting. How many golf balls do you have?
Golf balls.
Golf balls. Bowling balls. Oh, I gotta
That's
go.
what I was thinking. I would say I have 10 drilled.
Do you really?
Yeah, I brought 6 with me to the bowling alley today.
Why?
Actually 7. So.
Why do you bring so many to the bowling?
Well, when you're a tournament bowler, you have to adapt to the different oil patterns and the conditions. Different bowling balls with different cores and cover stocks will give you different reactions on the lane. Like I have one that's for shorter oil, medium oil, and longer oil.
Well, a lot more to this than people
Yeah.
really think, especially if you're bowling competitively. Okay, who do you go for advice if you have that little problem?
My parents are one of the bigger ones, but like Don said, the bowling coach out here, Bruce, he's been my coach for probably the past 4 years. I'd never be the bowler today without him, and I can't think.
So what does a
enough.
bowling coach tell someone?
Well,
I mean, you're walking down, does it give you like a different, how many paces you should have or where you should let go of the ball?
it's basically tempo, push.
Tempo. When you say tempo,
stay slow.
okay.
Don't rush yourself. Good balance.
That's feet. He
Right,
means like
right.
you don't want to rush your feet because then your ball will get behind.
Timing will be screwed up. You make sure you want to have like your timing in the right area. So like you don't want to go too fast because your time will be late, and you don't want to go too early. Like you don't want to go too slow because you might rush your backswing, and then you might get early timing. The push way is mostly the biggest thing me and Bruce work on, and walking straight so we can have a parallel approach to the line. It's just a lot of things we work on.
Who helped you when you were coming out of bowling area?
My dad and my best friend Natalie Hanks.
Okay.
So they own Lost. Well, Natalie and her
Same
husband
thing, did
Harry
they
own
teach you about
Lost Things.
tempo and so forth?
Oh yeah.
So the game really hasn't changed much? I mean, obviously the bowling balls have changed, the
The
lanes.
bowling balls have changed a lot. The oils actually on the lanes have changed as well.
Has it made it better or not?
They come and go. Sometimes it's really great oil. Other times they'll come up with some kind of different oil, and it may not hold on the lane. It might dry up too much. It can be spotty, so some spots will dry up, and other spots will be still oily. So
How important is that for the people that run the bowling alley or the bowling center to make sure to come up with one? Does it make it last longer? I mean, how long do these lanes last?
depends on who's throwing the ball, how many games have been on it, how many people are on the lane, temperature in the air. You know, summer versus winter versus air conditioning and heat.
All right, what about when sometimes they'll have a more spectacular and they have like two great bowlers bowl against each other, but they're not at a bowling alley. They're like at an arena or something, temporary. How do you bowl on something that's not there permanently? What kind of a lane is that?
It just depends.
They're synthetic lanes.
Right.
They can bring them in, set them up.
There's different kind of synthetic lanes. There's
Yeah.
AMF synthetic lanes, and then there's Brunswick synthetic lanes. When you're in an arena setting, it's just different. It depends on what the people have chosen for the lanes to be used in the arena. It's just
Do you see that happening down the road? Because how big are some bowling lanes where they have bowling competitions that are broadcast?
They
How
can-
many can they hold? I know there's one up in Erie
We've
that
been
has
to
one.
places that have had 80 lanes,
Okay.
and they'll put them on each side. So you'll have seating in the middle, and then you'll have bowling lanes on each side.
Okay.
So
Do you think, and maybe it has bowling been in the Olympics yet?
they've been
they've
working
been
on it.
trying.
I think that would be really help getting bowling out there if it gets into the Olympics too.
Jason Belmonte was really promoting getting bowling into the Olympics, and bowling just missed the cut to get in for the 2020.
Because you were saying, it's very, I mean, it's out there in Europe, right? I mean, it's very popular
It's
in Europe.
huge.
What about in Asia?
It's everywhere.
Really?
Japan, China,
Uh-huh.
Asia,
Yeah.
Australia,
Wow.
Philippines,
Yeah.
anywhere probably in the world, there's bowling.
So then it's overdue to be put in the Olympics, I think.
It is. I think the biggest problem with that is they find that the scorekeeping is too difficult for people to understand who don't know bowling. So they're trying to simplify that scoring.
How hard can it be to
It's
understand?
not very hard.
I mean, if you knock down 8 after 2 shots, you get an 8.
That's correct.
right? And then if you get a spare, the next one is 8 plus 10 carrying over to the third frame, correct?
Yes.
I haven't
The
bowled in
first
a long
ball
time.
of the third frame.
So I think if they had somebody explain that to people
Yeah.
before the match, and visualize it and put it up on the screen, all the technology we have today, it
Right.
can't be that hard to put on. I think eventually, if you wanted to see how the U.S. team was doing against, I don't know, Russia, since that's on everybody's mind today, U.S. and Russia,
Yeah.
you could,
Yeah,
but I think it would help promote the sport.
it would.
And I'm a big fan of bowling, even so I don't bowl much, because I think it's a great sport, and I'm glad yourself and other young people are getting involved, and I'm happy some colleges have it. I think a lot of colleges should have it. I know some colleges have boys and girls teams,
Yes.
if I'm not mistaken. I've seen, I think the Big Ten has it, because I remember I get the Big Ten network, and I watch it on the Big Ten network. Some people will say, oh, it's kind of boring to watch. And in today's society, everybody wants everything to happen in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
We have that where people lose their concentration in 3 minutes. But people can watch a bowling, and it can be exciting to watch. You've watched a lot, I'm sure.
Right. The new thing the PBA has done is the PBA League, and they have had it in Portland, Maine the past few years.
Okay.
And their setting up there is just really great for the sport because all the people up there, they cheer and scream, and there's music playing, and
Get the crowd going.
yeah, and the bowling alley went from 14 lanes to 20 because of
Uh-huh.
the PBA being up there for the PBA League. So,
So they have a PBA league in Maine.
right.
Wow. I didn't even know they had a PBA league.
Yeah, it's been on ESPN for the past 4 weeks, I would say.
Okay, so how many teams are in this league?
There were 8 to start with, and then that's basically a lineup of.
And they're just in Maine.
Well, that's just where it's
Right.
at right now. But it might be in Maine for 5 more years. It might change its location next year. It's
They
just
need to
what-
put one in Vegas.
yeah, they need to put one in Erie.
Yeah, they need to put one
Yes,
in
they
Erie. That would really help out, I mean, you got the Sea Wolves, you got the Developmental Basketball League in Erie. Football's gone now. But the bowling league would be good to have in Erie.
I mean,
A lot of bowlers in Erie, at least there used to be, right?
there still are.
Yeah, there are.
Well,
I
we
mean,
went
back
up-
in the
lot of good
60s and
bowlers.
70s and 80s, there were a ton of leagues out there.
We went up for the Times Open this
Mhm.
year, and there were bleachers packed of people. And we walked in and like, is this for the bowling tournament? And we were stunned. And we had a few good friends up there.
Stunned in a good way, though,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because we couldn't believe how many people were supporting and watching
Mm-hmm.
the bowlers.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, bowling is a great sport, and I want to thank both of you for giving us a few minutes of your time, and good luck to you.
Thank you.
And maybe we'll see you on tour someday.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome. Then we'll
Yeah.
get you back on, because then you'll be a pro, you'll be a celebrity.
I'll invite everyone a ticket.
Thank you, I appreciate
Yep.
that. All right, you've been watching Sports Close-Up on Armstrong.